It was funny that most times when we presented the city of Phoenix, there was very little reaction one way or the other. People, sometimes when you're presenting, you get some head nodding, and that's when you go like, oh, thank God I got a head nod. You know, somebody, I'm connecting to somebody. Sometimes you don't get any reaction at all. In the case of this particular presentation, when I was flipping through the slides, and I got to the one where the umbrella turned into a big boulder, there was another artist on the panel named Mary Lucking, who I know, and when she saw that slide, she burst out laughing, which I thought was great. So I thought, you know I connected with Mary, you know, when I got the presentation. I wasn't sure about the rest of it. The only thing that we were, I think the thing in the end is that we didn't connect the right way with this particular selection panel. In the end, the shade that we were producing was great, but they wanted something a little different. So they picked something that was a little more architectural, where somebody did these neat environments under the shade structures. Shade structures were really more straightforward. They produced these little environments underneath it, which I think is a really neat idea. Something I probably concentrated way too much on the fact that somebody said don't put anything on the ground. So that's part of the problem, is that you hear something, it sits with you, and you don't know whether to take it that seriously or not, and you just never know. So my advice is always go in doing whatever you want. Do the artwork that you want to do. If you're selected, it's because of the right reasons. You're doing what you want to do. If you go in thinking you're going to produce what they want to produce, you're going to produce artwork that somebody else wants but you don't want, that's not what you want to be doing. It's not your effort and your energy isn't going to be behind it. I don't recommend that personally. I think just do your artwork and present it. Yes?
If I can add into, if you are not selected, as is this case, you can always call the project manager and ask for the response from the panel. Because we do take really thorough notes. Oftentimes panels will say, you know, boy, this was such an innovative idea, it was so great. It's just not right for this site because of X, Y, or Z. And would you please share that with the artist? So that often informs future stuff.
Yes.
I was just curious if you addressed any safety or liability or construction issues when you did your presentation.
Yeah, we did. And that came up because these boulders, I think they were 1,800 pounds a piece, I want to say. And so we knew exactly, I mean, we've worked with this kind of stone before. We said, you know, we know we can drill it, we can do this, we can have this kind of connection. We know it'll stand. You can find, you know, tons of examples of armadas around town. The old 50s and 60s style. There are some that are held up by very skinny columns. It's very possible to do. And what we were talking about, we wanted to minimize the size of the column. We talked about using double extra strong columns, things like that, so that they look too small, but that's done on purpose, and it's done by knowing that the material that we can do it with will allow us to do that. And so yeah, we did talk about that. And I think the construction part of it is important. To us too, the other part that I took out is that we had a chunk about how good our project management system is in our office, but I figured that was kind of irrelevant and boring in a way. But it's something that, you know, you can't, it's hard to do until you have a couple of projects behind you. Before we had any of those projects that we were shown, we couldn't say that stuff. As soon as we had them, we could say it. But until we did that, you know, we just had to say, we know what we can do, so we have absolute confidence in ourselves, and we did. We always did. And you know, anybody that, you know, if you have a dream, you want to see your project happen, you'll find a way to make it happen and keep your concept intact. It's not that bad. Yes.
So that was obviously the interview process, but you had a submission prior to that in order to be selected for this. How do you go about selecting what you're going to show in your initial submission?
Which slide? Which previous projects to show?
Yeah, and do you even start kind of designing and say, you know, like you show any like possible ideas, or do you just show your previously, you know, previous work?
That's a good question. The question is, do we show any, how do we select the slides that go into the
Because for
submission?
those of us who don't have projects under our belt, it's like, well, what do we show?
That's what we, you know, Maria and I, for the first 5 years, that's what we did, is for every project, we actually submitted a proposal, even though it specifically says don't do that. We didn't have anything to show, so we actually would do a proposal and put it as the slide, part of the slides to submit. And I don't think that ever worked, to be honest with you. It actually wasn't, we never got shortlisted for any of the times that we did that. But it's still, and I don't know whether that was something that, that annoyed them or whether our work just wasn't up to snuff at that point. But what we ended up doing was doing more of our own work that was built and submitting that. And once we had a little bit of stuff behind us, it seemed like that's when we got in. But doing all of those proposals for 4 years or whatever it was so helpful. I mean, we really found out what we wanted to do in public art doing that. And the great part was we never thought we'd get selected, so we just really did whatever we wanted. And you know, we have a project where we decided to move the state fair onto the freeway system, you know, during the state fairgrounds, and we got shortlisted for that actually. That was one that we did get shortlisted for, was our temporary project. It was the craziest thing we probably ever submitted. So you don't ever really know, but I recommend doing that. I recommend doing proposals, not necessarily submitting them with your submission, but at least for the practice of doing public art proposals, so that when you do get the call, you do get shortlisted, you're more prepared to do it. If you haven't done public art, it's a great way to train yourself. But they always say not to submit the real project proposals.
You know, I was talking about Americans for the Arts, and a lot of times you'll see RFQ, request for qualifications, not request for proposals. And I'll be honest, the reason for that is that there are numbers of artists who get very upset by the idea of being asked to work for free. Yeah, nobody likes to work for free. That said, we're all very well aware, especially those of us who facilitate the process and don't actually make the vote. The thing that I can't say as the project manager is, this person needs a chance. Give this person a chance. What I can do is say, okay, no, you know, look here, or guide them. Okay, well, yes, the sculpture is only 3 feet high, but clearly they know how to weld, and kind of guide accordingly. The other thing you should know, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, every selection panel is different. We go out of our way to make sure that our selection panels are varied. If we've used somebody as a panelist, we will wait another 1.5 to 2 years before inviting them back in. And I've sat through millions of these. I feel like it's millions, it's not millions, but it's lots. And you never know how the panel's going to go. You really never know. I've seen panels be willing to take a risk and vote for the state fair on the freeway, and I've seen panels look at that and think, these people are out of their mind, and we have no idea. So, I mean, to back up Matt, I'm sorry, I can't really speak for him. To back up Matt, you've got to be comfortable with who you are and with what you're putting out there.
To answer the first part of your question, how do we select which projects go into it? It's really a matter of trying to connect whatever they're asking for with whatever you've done as best you can. So, for instance, when we go after park projects now, that park project I showed, we show that every time. I mean, that's a gimme. But for us, I mean, we still only have, I think, 6 public art projects under our belt. So we show the same, like 5 of the 6, let's say, because it's what we have. So we're still building it up. But you just try and connect with what they're asking. Yes.
What program were you using to create your presentations?
PowerPoint. Microsoft PowerPoint.
Well, the images,
Oh.
the images.
Oh, well, that varies.
SketchUp or different ways?
No, we used to use nothing but Form Z, but now, because Carl's in our studio for the last couple of years, he knows Maya and Rhino, and that's what he's been using, and a little bit of AutoCAD. And then we use a lot of Photoshop, and Illustrator at times, and I use an ancient piece of software called Corel. We just do everything we can, whatever is the most convenient. And it's all old. Like everything we have is probably at least 2 or 3 years old, I think. But it gets the job done. And it also helps, you know, so for the renderings and things like that, Carl went to get a master's degree at SciArc in California, which is a really good, edgy architecture school. And he actually started dwindling into public art and making his thesis project into something that was very public art based, and kind of upset them, which was interesting, because they kept wondering where the architecture was. But he learned all these great skills, and so sometimes you just pick up things and you know, get together with people that have these great skills. It just really helps your work. But it doesn't always, you know, the interesting thing is that we've gotten projects walking in with the lamest renderings at times, you know, the things that we were like, this isn't going to fly, nobody's going to understand it. We'll get that project, and then the next one will go all out like this one, and then you don't get it. It's like, you don't know. I think, to me, it's much more about connecting with the people in a personal way. And I think in this particular case, I think the main person on the selection panel that was really driving it was the woman that worked for the Parks Department at Reach 11. And it just didn't, this project just didn't speak to her.
That's where it's.
Yeah, and so I think you just don't know. It's a total crapshoot. You just got to go with your gut, do what you want to do, and just see what happens.